Good morning, everyone. Hope you're doing well. Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there, and happy Euro 2024 Day to all the England fans, as well as the Serbians, the Polish, the Dutch, and the game in the middle that I can't recall off the top of my head right now. Hope you all have a fantastic Sunday. Right, if you're watching live, please get your thoughts regarding West Ham's transfer business / transfer rumours into the live chat. And let's see what you're all doing. We're going to kick it off with the big story yesterday that West Ham had a £30 million bid for Samu, the Atletico Madrid striker, rejected. This was revealed by Fabrizio Romano. For the last couple of weeks, we have been linked to the striker, but it's confirmation now that we were the club that made a bid that was rejected by Atletico Madrid. Now, the interesting thing, which is what Matthew is saying here, is that he thinks we've got a good chance of signing him, especially as he's changed agents, which could mean he's trying to force a move. He also, there's a quote attached to Samu as well regarding he basically, a couple of weeks ago, he sacked his agent, which lines up with the bid being rejected. But he also said something like excited for the future or something like that as well, which hints incredibly strongly that he's going to be leaving Atletico Madrid and going somewhere. And if we bid 30 million, there's not that many clubs in the world that can bid greater than 30 million. And it feels that depends on what their asking price is, but I'd be surprised if this is the end of it, especially in football. There's all these, you speak to people before you make a bid, don't you? It just happens through agents, etc., etc. If West Ham wants Samu, we would reach out to Samu via agents. We wouldn't get our hands dirty. Would there be somebody, whether it be someone Tim Steidten knows or previously someone David Silva knows, that will reach out to somebody regarding Samu and just say, look, is he wanting to come to West Ham, etc., etc., before making a bid for him. You gauge the player's interest before you start any serious negotiations, which I don't have an issue with, truth be told. It saves a lot of wasted time. So if we've made a bid, I can only assume that we've done a little bit of due diligence into the player and his desires, and we've been encouraged to make a bid for him. So I'm quite hopeful that we can get something done. Gary's saying that he thinks the bid was made up of a lot of add-ons, need to up the base total price if we want him. I'm never bothered. Do you know when our first bid gets rejected? It doesn't bother me in the slightest. It's negotiations. You never bid your top price immediately, do you? Not just in football, in life. No one goes onto eBay and goes, I'll just whack in the most I want to pay now and then see what happens. Nobody does it. Everybody barters. But yeah, if anyone's got a Vinted account, that's extreme negotiating. Now, I don't have one. Mrs. Geo does. She put something up for £4. Someone offered her £3.25. It's 75. It's 75p. Anyway, negotiations take place everywhere, included on Vinted. Let's see what you're all saying. Keep getting your thoughts into the live chat. Robert says, I feel like he'll be good for us. Seems like a decent striker with a lot of potential. Only 20 years old as well. We'll be in a good place if we can make more signings like this one. Adam would like to see a right-footed winger on the left as well as a centre-back sharpish. Rory, do you think we have more money than has been reported? We seem to be going for a lot of players. Yeah, I think we do. I think we've got a decent bit. But like Gary said, the way we're structuring the bids, and you're only committing so much. So Guilherme, everybody's telling me how you pronounce it, but everybody's telling me different pronunciations. So I'm sticking with Guilherme for now because Cal called it Guilherme. I'm happy to go with him. So Guilherme, we know it's worth 25 million, but we've only committed 19.5 million for now. So I think with the add-ons is possibly a way of getting around it for the time being. But obviously that you risk, there's a lot of potential add-ons there. So you can bring in 5 players with a similar deal. There's 25 million you might have to pay out eventually. It's rare, I think, that you end up activating all those. It depends what they are, but I'd imagine they'll be attached to West Ham qualifying for European football, etc. as well. Robert says, what's the rumour regarding Ryan Sessegnon? I haven't seen one. I think it's more fans desiring Sessegnon since he's free after leaving Spurs. Surprised people haven't been calling for Ndombele as well, to be honest. But I haven't seen us linked to him. I think the next signing will be Wes Foderingham. Big Lee says we should give Earthy his flowers and start him out on that left-hand side. Matthew saying, don't Atletico want a Gerd, do some sort of deal? It would be ideal, wouldn't it? Whether they want him or not, I don't know. But he's certainly been linked to them for a considerable period of time now. Like he said, the moving around the fan base is brilliant at the moment. Long may it last. Mark says this shows we're changing direction with these early signings and age and amount we're bidding. Really optimistic about new season. Clayton says, good to see our transfer business has begun before the end of the season, and we've already started to rebuild this squad. Dan says, might be the first signing where Lopetegui as coach gives us an advantage over other sides. Steve says, if we got him, we'd have spent nearly half our reported budget on 2 players when we need 6 or 7. Must have some big exits lined up, hopefully not. What I will say is, I think there will be a few signings that come in that are cheap. Ben Johnson at the minute is apparently close to signing a new contract. And while he might not be everybody's biggest fan, put your own opinion of Ben Johnson to one side here. Just for the next 2 minutes, put your opinion of Ben Johnson to one side, whether you love him, hate him, or you're somewhere in the middle. I think this re-signing Ben Johnson means we don't have to replace Ben Johnson. It saves us a few million by getting Johnson to commit his future to West Ham. Worst case scenario, like I said, it doesn't work out for Johnson. Next year, Steidten, Lopetegui aren't impressed by him. We can sell him and we'd probably get the money back that we've just given to Ben Johnson over the next 12 months as well. So even just Ben Johnson signing a new contract saves money. Wes Foderingham coming in, and I know people smirk at it. Listen, I've given my opinion. I don't think he's a good goalkeeper, but he's essentially a training ground keeper. We'll never see him. If we do see him, something's gone wrong. Ariel and Fabianski are injured or suspended. Not great. My point is, he's one of the 7 players. Re-signing Ben Johnson, I would argue that's possibly another player, because I'd expect the plan for the summer would have included a new right back. With Johnson and Sufal, I'm not sure we'll see that new right back this summer. So that getting those 2 in, that's 2 of the 7 done, and we've spent very little money in terms of transfer budget. We'll have to pay them some signing on fee, but I imagine Foderingham's quite low. His wages will be quite low. It's the same with Ben Johnson, actually. I think his wages will be low compared to other players in the squad at West Ham. James says he's been doing some research with that 98 million. Tim and Lopetegui can build a deep side that doesn't have much talent drop-off, especially if he uses multiple payments to pay for a transfer. James is also wishing happy Father's Day to all the fellow West Ham dads out there. Lee says we need a striker, but he wants to see Caruso on the right, Bowen up front, and Earthy on the left. Matt is asking about Ben Rama's situation with Leon. Truth be told, nothing has changed, and there's not much noise about it either. I think there's an expectation that Leon's transfer embargo will be dropped and he will sign for them. I do wonder if there's maybe a workaround, because while it's an option to buy, technically the contract was signed in January, so I do wonder if that maybe gets them around it. I don't know. I know there's been cases in the past where a club have been hit with a transfer embargo, but the club have still been able to sign players they've already agreed to sign. Whether Ben Rama falls into that category and meets the conditions for that in regards to it's an option to buy rather than an obligation, I'm unsure. We'll have to wait and see. But bear in mind, we were able to get around the fact that the paperwork wasn't done for Pablo Fernandes side Ben Rama. I think this one might go through as well, but we'll have to wait and see. Nothing really has come out, truth be told, which would indicate either nobody cares or nobody knows. 98 said we'd love to see him come to us, but don't want to spend all this window going for him, I think. Gary says bringing down the average age of the squad and signing young players with high ceiling makes for exciting times. Woods is saying, is Wesley or Jota Silva more realistic? I'd be surprised if we don't sign a left winger, and those are the 2 names that we're being linked to. I see Tim Steidten's back in London, though. He might have gone back to Brazil, but he was certainly at Rush Green with Guilherme. So I don't know if maybe his Brazilian adventures come to an end and perhaps he's moving on to the likes of Samu now. So that would indicate the Wesley one It's not happening. I would have concern with Wesley. The reason being is just because while he's more experienced than Guilherme, I think two very inexperienced players with substantial portions of the transfer budget, I think it's just a bit risky. While we want to see young players coming in, I still think there's a middle ground. And I think that's where Samu and Jota Silva come in, which is they're young, but they've got a lot of experience for their age. They've got some experience behind them as well. All right, let's switch back to the live chat. But while you're here, please do subscribe if you're new to Hammer's Chat. Also, drop a like on the video as well by clicking thumbs up. Both things help out the channel. We're live at 7:30 this evening with a build-up show for the England game. So if you're kicking about, come back and join Charlie and Gonzo. I ain't doing it for obvious reasons. Robert said Benrahma's gone. Leon paid a big upfront fee, which has been used as part of the transfer. Yeah, but they've got a transfer embargo, Robert. That's the issue here. It's not the fact that they want him or he wants to go. That's the issue. Avram says, love him. Versatile, can be coached and has more potential than people think. Also saves money and adds to our quotas. In regards to Ben Johnson, that is, I assume. Mark loves the new direction we're going in. Moyes held us back last year, especially in the January transfer window. This is refreshing and exciting. Johnny and others who have said about Raheem Sterling, I will cover it maybe tomorrow. I don't believe the transfer rumour, but I want to discuss it hypothetically because that's what you do as a football fan. We're a fan channel, not a news organisation. Although, I'm still clinging on to the fact that somebody suggested I made up the links to Wes Foderingham for clickbait. It still amuses me, right? So if we sign Wes Foderingham, which I'm certain we will, I'm hoping he comes back and declares me an in the know. Because he told me nobody with any, I can't remember the words, but basically anyone worth their salt wasn't saying this is true. I was the only one saying it's true, and I'm making it up for clicks. Where's Foderingham? It's living rent-free in my head. The accusation that if I was to make up a transfer rumour, I'd make up where's Foderingham. Harry, it's Samu, who plays for Atletico Madrid, Belgian striker. He's in the thumbnail. I made it myself. Do you like it? I'm dabbling at Photoshop because Charlie's been away. Hopefully, you like the thumbnail. Granted, Charlie helped me a little bit with it, but you know, I'm trying to learn. I'm learning, right? Oz says, I hate being this excited so early, as I've always been disappointed, but I do feel the club has a new ethos. No, Oz, don't be excited. It's important. If you don't have excitement in football, then what have you got? Right? What have you got? I don't understand. I've got a couple of friends who refuse to be excited about anything. So as a result, they're just grumpy about it. Literally everything. We could win, and there's still an element of grumpiness about it. Any player we're linked to, it'll never happen. Now, they said it about Guilherme. Oh, it's never going to happen. Made up, blah, blah, blah. Season ticket renewal, blah, blah, blah. Guilherme made up, blah, blah. We've signed him, and even now with transfer rumours like Samu, they said, oh, it's made up, load of rubbish, didn't happen. But you said that about Guilherme. You've literally been proven wrong already. The transfer window opened 2 days ago. The international one didn't even open until the 1st of July. Technically, Guilherme's not a West Ham player until the 1st of July. So they've already been proven wrong, but they're still insisting that everything's made up. They didn't accuse me of making up the West Foderingham one, though. Iggy wants Jonathan Rowe of Norwich. Phil said, I think we need a new fullback in this window. Keeping both Creswell and Johnson feels like a sticking plaster. I think it's moving the transfer budget, Phil. I'm okay with it. You've only got so much money. And if you can, this season, get by with Emerson Creswell, Sufal Johnson, and focus the money elsewhere, Guilherme, Samu, I'm okay with it. I think I would, to some extent, I would rather have 3 big signings. It's like Countdown when the numbers come out. Let's pretend there was medium numbers in there. You got the large and small. Let's pretend there's medium numbers. I don't know. 8 to 15 is medium. And I appreciate I'm making up a new game here, but it's like Countdown. They all say 2 big and 4 small, please. 5 small, 1 big would be my method if I was on Countdown. Anyway, so how do you divide this budget up? I think I'd rather have 3 big signings and 4 small ones rather than 7 medium ones, if that makes sense. I'd rather get 2 or 3 players in that can come into the starting 11 or have the potential to go on and get into the starting 11, but also just become one of the better players in the Premier League in their position, rather than spreading ourselves thin and getting in some decent options, but all they're doing is competing with the ones. I think the plan has to be, when you sign a player, especially for 30 million, basically Samu or a other striker needs to be that good. Antonio's on the bench first game of the season. That has to be how good the striker is. He just relegates Antonio. The bench gets stronger because it's got Antonio in it. The first 11 gets stronger because we've just signed a striker that bloody good. So I'm okay with this plaster analogy used. I don't disagree. It's a short-term measure. I'm okay with that one. Let's have a go with Emerson and Creswell left back next season. See what Scarles is up to. Reevaluate in 12 months, and you might need to go spend 20, 30 million on a new left back. Gives Steidten and his team 12 months to identify the next best thing in European football, hopefully. So, anyway. Aqua says Guilherme is another name for us to butcher. Yes, it is. Like I said, I've already got people saying. I've already got people saying that I'm pronouncing it wrong, and then different people tell me different things. Chris says, definitely no to McTominay after his performance on Friday. Your favourite was rank. That's Steve Clark's fault, really. Also, I'm a Scotland fan. Of course I'm going to like Scott McTominay. I support Scott McTominay. Just like I support James Ward-Prowse, Ben Johnson. I like these players. They play for my team, club/country. Happy says the risk with youth is they have yet to have their career-defining injury. Many have broken and never played again. Others push hard and recover to be great players. That is a very interesting comment. I can safely say that's the first time anybody's ever said that on this channel, and it's a wonderful comment. Worrying, but sure. Irish Tommy says 30 million seems overpaying for him. It's a lot of money. Either Atletico have overvalued him or they don't want to sell. It won't be like Gary said previously, it won't be 30 million up front. There you go, guaranteed. It'll be broken down. It'll be worth 30 million. There's a big difference. Paul says every player is a rumour and speculation, but until they are in a West Ham shirt and doing a promotional video, nothing is guaranteed. Agree, but I think you can. I think you can be. I think you can discuss things hypothetically and work out whether you believe transfer rumours or not. I think I've got an all right success rate, to be honest with you. I feel like I dismiss 90% of transfer rumours. And I do believe some, and some don't work out. And I believe some, and some of them sign. I believe the Guilherme one, he signed. I also believe the Fabrizio Bruno one didn't sign. But I would argue that was still true. A lot of these rumours, just because they don't happen, doesn't mean they're not true. Like the Samu one, we might not sign him, but it doesn't mean we didn't bid for him. It just means that a deal wasn't agreed. My advice to anybody is, it's transfer rumours. Work it out yourself. If you're watching this video right now, you love West Ham, right? It's as simple as that. You ain't watching a video about... If you're watching a video at 9:23 in the morning, on the Sunday morning, Father's Day as well, you love West Ham. It's as simple as that as far as I'm concerned. And if you do, it means you're hugely invested into the club 7 days a week. I've got some friends who, they don't pay attention. Monday to Friday, they're not bothered. They don't pay attention to anything. They turn up to the ground on the weekend, watch the game, go home, and then they switch off from West Ham until the following weekend. And sometimes I get a bit jealous to some extent. I think I wish I could do that and just switch off, because they're not that bothered about stuff. Like the Moyes debate last season, they weren't bothered. They were a bit like, if he's here next season, he's here. If he's not, he's not. I'm not that bothered. I just want to enjoy going to West Ham at a weekend. So if you are invested as much as you are, which like I said, I insist you are, because you're watching this video right now, use your knowledge, use your opinion. You're smart. Everyone's a smart person. Use what you know to decipher whether you think the transfer rumour is realistic or not. Like the Raheem Sterling one, I'd be surprised if anybody truly believes it. Just working out what you know about Steidten, Lopetegui, West Ham, transfer budget, Raheem Sterling's wage demands. That's the big thing, right? What's stopping Sterling coming to West Ham? Well, the fact that Chelsea probably want a lot of money for him, and he's probably on about 300, 400 grand a week at Stamford Bridge. So just use it, work it out. Anyway, This is the problem with getting up really early on. I'm awake. It's 9 a.m. and I'm bushy-tailed and awake. Michael says, I can now see the vision of the club and it gives me hope and excitement for the future. Also says it's good to dream. It is good to dream. Do it. Paul says, did you see Rudiger is now Scotland's joint top scorer in the last 25 years? Not wrong. Well done. I like it. I don't mind it. I can take jokes about Scotland. I've had a lot of memes sent to me in the last 48 hours. It doesn't bother me. I know we're rubbish. Scotland Hotspur, draw the line at that, though. That's too far. Bottling things. England have only won one more trophy than us. That's all I'm going to say. For now, they might win it this year. Then you've got two. But for now, they've only won one more trophy than us. James says it's 3:25 in the morning in the States. Yeah, you're off your head. Ian said Sunday night in Australia, having a pint and listening to the show. Excited for that upcoming season. Good. Gary says you've got breakfast in bed, West Ham presents, and Hammers chat makes a good start to Father's Day. Is it too much to expect England to win as well? I think you will. I think you'll be fine. Phil says completely agree with 3 feature signings rather than spreading the butter too thin. Wouldn't mind using a loan and freeze to top up the squad because I think we need more than a 7. Matthew says, can't believe Fabrizio Romano duties links to Steidten. That's my thoughts as well, Matthew. I don't want to tell people that Fabrizio, in regards to Romano and Steidten, I strongly believe Fabrizio Romano sourced on some things West Ham, not all, because he used to have West Ham news prior to Tim Steidten. So he's had links. I don't think he had links to anyone at the club. I think prior to Tim Steidten, I think Fabrizio Romano got his information from other journalists and football agents, other people in the game as well. Maybe not anyone directly at West Ham. But since Steidten's arrived, I strongly believe that Fabrizio Romano gets some of his news from Tim Steidten. Like I said, the biggest evidence, when we signed Kudus, Fabrizio Romano had the photo. Nobody else had it. Fabrizio Romano had the photo from the jet. So when this stuff comes out that's confirmed, and that's a strong word, confirmed it's West Ham. Not I believe it was West Ham, confirmed. That would suggest he's spoken to somebody who said, yep, that was us. And that would indicate that perhaps it's Tim Steidten. Now, this could be a good move. I was anti this originally when the Steidten and Romano thing came out last year. I wasn't keen on it. I said, hang on a minute. Whoa, I'm just going to call him director. I know it's not his job title, but it's his job role. I'm going to call him director of football. Our director of football's feeding this journalist some exclusive news, and people said, "Whoa, it could work to an advantage." I thought about it, and I thought, you know what, they're right, maybe, but there's other people also trying to use Romano to their advantage, so he's got a bit of a game to play here. However, it was either Norway or Denmark, and I appreciate this is quite ironic given the error that Gonzo made with Ibrahim Osman's club. It was either Norway or Denmark. One of the clubs called out Fabrizio Romano. Basically, Fabrizio Romano or someone close to Fabrizio Romano offered their services to this club and says, for X amount of money, I can put something on Twitter. And it's basically been leaked that certain people will pay Fabrizio Romano for posts. Then you think about it, how often does Fabrizio Romano tweet about Jonathan David? It's a lot, right? It's a lot. He's constantly putting up about how available Jonathan David is. And it makes you think maybe there is something there, actually. And then this one comes out about Samu. West Ham wants Samu. And then when you go back and realise that he's, changed his agent, we've had a bid rejected, it's almost like Steidten's publicly, and this is my own theory, Steidten's almost basically publicly said, we want him. That's the guy we want. Now, Steidten can't say that. Well, he could, but it's a little bit rocky ground when you start declaring your interest publicly. But I guess what he can do is use Fabrizio Romano to declare his interest publicly and say, that's the striker we want. Anyway, that's my own theory. I'll shut up now. Right, let's have a look, see what you're all saying. 25 minutes. All right, we've got another 10, 15 minutes shit then. Lewis says, we have an abundance of midfielders, but realistically, we will be able to be reliable in this new system? Who will be reliable in this new system? Feel like we need another technical centre midfielder. Also, Souček likely to be transfer listed. No rumours about Thomas Souček, but in fairness, I think wait for the Euros. Obviously, Czechia are in action. Thomas Souček will be a big part of that. If he has a really good tournament, that might increase interest in him. I think even if we were wanting to move Thomas Souček on, I think we're doing the right thing. Stay true to him and hope that he has a good tournament, because he probably will. I think Souček's a better player for country than club sometimes, and hope, like I said, I'm looking forward to watching him. I hope he and Sufal get plenty of game time and impress. In regards to the technical midfielder, you could be right. Alex Garcia's joined by Leverkusen, the player we were linked to. Someone said our interest was never real. I think it might have been Fabrizio Romano said our interest wasn't concrete. I think that was the phrase, which is interesting. I think we've got a lot of midfielders though. Alvarez, Souček, James Ward-Prowse, and then we've got Freddie Potts, Andy Irving, and Flynn Downs. So there's quite a few players that we need to decide on. We won't use them all. I'll be surprised if all 6 are here next season. It might be Potts goes out on loan and we keep the rest. It might be that Irving goes out on loan as well. We'll have to wait and see. But there's definitely a little bit of movement required with our centre midfielders, I think. Iggy says keep Ben Johnson and Divine Mubama. I think you might get that. You might get it. Lee says we know Johnson can play further up the pitch under Lopetegui, who could become a class wingback. Well, wait and see. This is why I'm interested for pre-season. See what formations we're pumping out. Johnny says if Tim's getting 4 before July, if that's true, who do you think the other 3 will be? Foderingham, yes. Big yes to Foderingham. I'm convinced he's coming. And I'm not just making up the transfer rumour for clickbait, but I think Wes Foderingham will be one. That's sure. I think the Samu, I believe the bid. I believe this rumour that we bid for Samu, and I'm calling him Samu because I don't know how to pronounce his surname. I believe it. I do believe that. And also I believe the bids for Fabrizio Bruno. So if everything had gone well, I think the 4 would be Foderingham, Bruno, Guilherme, and Samu. I also think we've bid for Wesley, but like I said, I think that we've ditched that one and gone with Guilherme. I think that's what we've done there. So I wouldn't be surprised if Sam is one of them. And whether we get a 4th one before the 1st of July, I'm not too sure. I'll be honest with you though, right? If we've made 3 signings before the end of the month, I'm happy with that. I'm not going to be too upset that we didn't get the 4th one over the line before the international transfer window even opens. I'm pretty calm. Last summer, we didn't even have a new signing before the season kicked off. It's huge progress. Even just having 1 done is a big progress compared to last summer. More players required, yes, but it's an improvement. I'm encouraged by it. Graham loves Souček, but doesn't think he fits into the Lopetegui. Paul says he's 20 minutes behind. Oh, I'll be quiet. He's in the live chat, so he's watched 20. He's currently watching the 9 minutes into the show. Anyway, he's thrown me out that one. Nice one. Lucas said, "Would you keep Paqueta around the club if he's felt guilty?" No, I think it depends. Really, it doesn't it? I think it's a bit of an awkward one. It's a bit of an awkward one because if he is found guilty, I strongly believe he will appeal, possibly go to CAS, and that will go on for ages. I guess the big question is, can he play whilst the appeal is going? I imagine he will be able to. And I'll be surprised if Paqueta isn't able to play the entire next season. That's my prediction is he'll be a West Ham player for, and I mean on the pitch for a considerable period of time. And then it's up to the club to decide what to do if he's found guilty and he's banned for life, even just for 3 years, even if he gets a really low punishment. It's up to the club what to do. It's a difficult one, really. I think there's no obvious answer Rob saying, didn't Johnson start out as a midfielder in his early days? He did, yes. He still played in midfield when he was younger. I think when Everton away, maybe, when he came on in centre midfield and was doing those runs, he played really well in his cameo. Mark Phillips, the youth coach at West Ham, had said that he was the one that moved him to right back, and it was a bit of tongue in cheek. Oh, well, I think I made a mistake here. Look at him. I converted him to right back. What have I done? So yeah, he played there as in midfield. Paul thinks we're looking at striker and centre backs immediately. And Barry said there is more to why these teams got a battery in the first game. Albania was a joke from the start, and Germany only played well as at home. Most of the players. I've still got a bit of PTSD from Friday. And Red Devils, there is a watch along. There is an England watch along. 7:30 tonight, live. With Gonzo for half an hour, then Charlie will be doing the watch along as well. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. I could sit here and chat to you all day. I quite like it. I do enjoy a live stream. We'll be back next Sunday at 9 a.m. Discussing transfers. Hopefully we'll have a new player. Maybe Wes Foderingham will be confirmed. But if you've enjoyed this video, please do drop a like on it. A massive thank you to joining me, whether you're live on Sunday morning and giving up your morning to chat to me in the live chat, or you're watching our playback a little bit later on, maybe Monday. Massive thank you. Anyway, it's 7:30 tonight. We're live. If you're an England fan, best of luck tonight. That's a lie. Come on, Serbia. Anyway, I'm going to disappear now. I'll catch up with you later in the week.